Hi everybody, it's me, the Fetch, host of Inside the Eye Live. Before the Sunday mainstream media political pundit talk shows, there's Inside the Eye Live, where we break down some of the weekly mainstream media talking points before the talking points even get aired. Add in some entertaining stories, weather, cats, intriguing and informative guests, and you get one of the most listened to Saturday morning streaming media political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me, The Fetch, for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lessin and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lessin.
Dr. Sasha Lessin, and today we have a panel with Tolec-Jenny-Marks, and maybe Tashina will call in. She said she might try, but maybe not. She's out in the boonies. And we're going to talk about this upcoming conference called the Transformation Shift Conference, which is, when is it coming up? I don't have a date here. We'll have to ask them. I think it's in about 2 weeks. And it's in Arizona. So, Dr. Lessin, would you like to say anything before we bring on Tolec?
Okay, anything before we bring on Tolec. Actually, this is part of a series that we're doing on ambassadors for advanced intelligences that have been contacting us. And obviously, Tolec is a major ambassador, and so are the people that he brings to this show. And these are, for the most part, people who are conscious of their contact with extraterrestrials, are extraterrestrial themselves, or in touch with that aspect of themselves, and they have something to share with humanity to help us all.
So the first we're going to bring on is Tolec, and he's an Earth human representative of the Andromeda Council, a governance and development body of 140 star systems and over 300 plus planets for people on both the Andromeda and Milky Way galaxies. And Tolec has had contact with non-voting board members of the council since age 5. He's also a member of the council's Joint Earth Subcommittee, and his soul essence origin is originally from the planet Dakota, Phi-Geta star system located in the Pleiades constellation. Tolec, are you there? Welcome to our show.
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I love it when it works.
Yeah.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. It was a good Sunday, and I'm relaxed and settled in for our conversation this evening.
Oh, lovely. And so we do have Cheyenne and Jenny confirmed, and I guess Tashina is a maybe. Is that correct?
Tashina is on the Standing Rock Reservation doing some very serious work with a lot of other people. She's actually stationed in the medic tent. She actually had some medical school training. So that's the work, the very special work that she's doing at Standing Rock. And I received a phone call from her daughter earlier today, and she said she is just not going to be able to dial in. It's
catch her another time.
Yeah, it's the nature of her work at Standing Rock and what's going on right now, and a lot of people who depend on her.
Wonderful. So,
what's occurring at Standing Rock right now?
Well, I think it goes back at least as far as 2 months. The summary of the story is this. There's a private energy company that wanted to put in an additional, I'm not sure if it's oil or natural gas pipeline, somewhat close to an existing pipeline that's in Dakotas. And the people up there, the said no. And it's not so much about the addition of an additional pipeline, it's that there have been treaties breached and broken and words promised for so many years. They're essentially saying, no more. We are drawing the line in the sand now. We are taking a stand. We are not going to allow you to abuse us or our land any further. And apparently, from what I understand, there are native indigenous people fly-in that have been coming in from around the world to support them. And there have also been indigenous people, other Native Americans from around the U.S. coming to the Standing Rock Reservation and providing their support, providing their help. They are intense. They eat heaters. They have food. They're going to sort of stick it out. It's a form of protest to stop the laying in this next pipeline. I don't have all the fine details, but that's essentially the story.
Well, thank you. Is there anything that our listeners could do to assist the Native Americans in their fight against oil and the pipeline and all that?
Yes. You know what? I honestly do not know the website. Grandmother Silverstar has been spending some time up there as well, but I'm sure there is a website somewhere where people can do some research and then follow whatever protocols are in place to donate money. The winter is coming. You know, it's autumn, winter is coming in the Dakotas, and they use some funds for some more tents and some heaters. They're doing pretty good in winter clothing and food, but they could use some funds for more tents and heaters to keep them warm so they don't freeze up there.
It's time for us to really get behind the wisdom of the Native Americans and to assist them. Jill Stein of the Green Party has faced arrest for this cause. I can say my heart is with you, and I hope all of you listening out there join the Native Americans in protecting their sacred ground and seeing that we get their wisdom and use it to help the planet. We need them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's time. It is absolutely time.
So tell us about this conference coming up. This is your baby, right? You're right.
Yes,
now.
it is. Yes, it is. I've received some help from Jim Nichols in Tucson and JD up in the Phoenix area as well. But it's my baby. Some women friends had said to me, this is a very creative process. You were literally about to for a child. My term is not 9 months. I think this time I had 5.5 months. But it was something that was born out of a gift from someone, and the gift was financial. I decided to dedicate most of the money this gentleman gifted me to producing this conference. And when I was given that ability, I essentially said to myself, what can I do in addition to what I'm already doing to make it in the world? And immediately the concept of this conference came to mind. And when it came to mind or came into my heart, my intuition, I also had a sense that I should probably invite and include some of the noble and wise Native Americans that have so much to teach the rest of us. Because for them, the stories of their star ancestors, what they call star people, Wichapi Hunka or Wichapi Oyate, Star People, at least in the Lakota. These stories for them are part of their...
Sorry, folks, we'll get him back. We were having some problems with the call. We were trying to fix it, and it hung up everything. I apologize. All right, they're not calling back. Is somebody there? No, I don't know what's going on here. They're trying to call me through the other group. You can. Hang it up. Okay, now I got to start all over. Don't call. Let me deal with it. All right, now I'm starting over again. They keep calling the number, and I can't call them if they keep calling me back. It's not letting me call any of them now. Oh. All right, now I got this server again. They're all on a conference call, and it won't call them because of it. I'm going to have to reboot, I guess. It done got it all messed up. I don't know if the server's messed up or not. Okay, let me try this again now. It's not calling them. All it's doing is showing it ain't ringing to them. They're all on another call, I think. I don't know what's going on. It ain't letting me pull them in. It ain't letting me bring them in. I don't know what the hell the problem is. All right, it's getting ridiculous. I can call her, but it ain't letting it. And then it hung us up when I brought the studio. Now it hung her up. It won't let me bring her on. All right, are you there? It's not letting me add you. I don't know what to do. I'm going to restart it again. That's the only thing I can do. Well, this is pretty strange. It's not letting me pick her up with the call. I can have the studio, but I can't bring up a call. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. This is about to drive me nuts. I ain't never had this kind of trouble. And Janet's going to try and get back a hold of me. See if I can pull her in with having the studio. So it's not giving me a... That's because she's calling the studio, and hang that call up. You got it. She's calling the group. She needs to call me, not the group. So all this is doing is twisting everything up. That's what the problem is. It ain't even letting me message her in there. She keeps calling me off the group and not, which won't pick up the server because I've got it. You're not going to get on that way. You keep calling the group, Janet. There you go. Well, see, it's not letting you join though. Well, folks, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do anything. Oh, you're back on. You're on the air.
Let's all talk for 2 seconds here and explain to everybody.
You're on.
Tolec, your hair. Oh, hi. I think we're back. And we were talking to Cheyenne Stone. Matt, is it working? Are we on live?
Yes, you're live now. It's worked. We're on.
Okay.
The Skype god.
Cheyenne. Hi. Cheyenne, pick up where we left off. And I got to tell Sasha to come back in here. But go ahead and start talking.
Well, I'm not quite sure where we left off. We were discussing what I might be musing about at the conference.
Yeah.
Mostly it's just a great honor to be at a gathering like this. I think the camaraderie and the fact that all of our hearts can be there resonating together is so exciting, and I hope people listening would take this invitation and make the trip. Get in the car, come out, put away the screens, and look another in the eyes and listen and share and come out and be at the table with all of us. It's really an opportunity that doesn't come around very often. And I'm so thankful to Tolec. I don't think anyone out there, unless they've created one of these situations and worked through it, understands how much effort goes into it. So I'm really grateful to him for creating an arena for all of us, a space, a community, and I look forward more than anything just to seeing people sharing and listening to their messages, and that includes the attendees, not just the speakers. So I think it's going to be a really exciting venue. Tolec had the idea of some open discussion, kind of roundtables where the mic gets passed around the audience in the afternoons after lunch, and we all get to share with each other across the line, both directions, not just as speakers, but as attendees. And so that's going to be a lot of fun every day. I really look forward to those afternoons.
Yeah. Yeah, very well said.
And Janet, are you there?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm muted. Did you want to say something?
I just back with Cheyenne, what I'm left with is this mystery of how, you had 9 strokes and you were really down. How did you get healthy? What did you do?
Oh, yeah.
It was not an instantaneous love switch, let me tell you. There was a lot of work went into it. I received the gifts of many miraculous healers. Some of them I never even met. They worked on me from a distance at all hours from all around the world. It's been a long journey. It's been about 13 years from that wave of gut punches that I received physically. There's been a lot of emotional and spiritual work that had actually started years before the physical collapse. And, of course, I've continued with that journey of looking inside and doing the inward work as well as the outward work. It's been a multifaceted journey. A lot of the benefits I've received have been energy medicine and energy healing. And that's a very broad umbrella. But I've received many gifts of being a student and being taught in a very amazing, honorable way to pick up the work that others have been doing on my body and then to learn to do that for myself. And that was part of the journey as well. So at the time it all began, I was diagnosed with many, many things by about 17 different specialists, including massive cellular degeneration. I spent about 356 days flat on my back, begging my Creator to take me out of this miserable body. And that's been completely turned around. That is not my situation now at all. It's been miraculous 100-fold. So but it hasn't been all at once. There's been a lot of pain. There's been a lot of determination and stubbornness on my part. I still had a child that was school age when I was struck down. So I couldn't find anybody to take responsibility for her. It wasn't because I hadn't tried, because as far as all the doctors were concerned, I was on my way out. So I just had to fight because I knew I had to finish what I had started as far as raising that child. No one else would accept the mantle. And that was a huge part of it, I think. I think that was something.
So your mission is what your mission of raising this child right was part of what kept you in the body. But what I get it is your methodology is you learned what other healers did that worked for you and learned how to do that for yourself. Did I get you right?
Absolutely, and that was a huge gift. And it's part of why I'm where I am today, and hopefully and thankfully stepping into a teaching role to help others and to spread the word about some of these modalities that are extremely beneficial, and that being sensitive is not a negative thing. It's a good thing, and that we need to turn towards that sensitivity of the energies that flow in us and around us and at us and from us, and to listen to that energy flow. And I have some tools and some techniques that I've been gifted with that hopefully will benefit others in that journey.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're going to bring on now Jenny Marks, and she's a metaphysical artist who communicates multidimensional life language messages from various guides, Star Nation guides, especially Arcturians, Sasquatch, tiny beings, elementals, and others that unlock your DNA codes and inspire you to vibrate higher. She encourages co-creators to remember their true nature and develop their unique heart and soul expressions. Bridging ancient wisdom in modern life, Jenny is a creative inspirationalist of galactic service, and there's more about Jenny that she's going to tell you about herself and her mission here on this planet and her work and what she's going to talk about at the conference. Welcome to our show, Jenny Marks.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we're all a little bit choppy, but we're going to just... We warble a bit. We're going to navigate these shock waters and get the message out to the world.
Good, beautiful. Well, I'm really honored to be on this call. I really appreciate what you're doing to communicate these messages and information out to the world. And Tolec, I really want to thank you for also hosting this conference. It's just going to be amazing. I'm already feeling the build up to it. In terms of the importance of sharing the shift of information and messages and energy that's coming in the world right now is just phenomenal. Just a very quick background about me. So I lived in New York City for about 35 years, and I worked in the corporate world, but I'm an artist and worked at major communication companies, publishing. I sort of was, I think these star people were giving me experiences to work in all these different industries to really understand them inside out and how they functioned and that kind of thing, and also to meet lots of different people from different backgrounds. But all my life, since I was a baby, basically, I've been doing different kinds of energy work and visited by lots of star people, especially the Arcturians and a couple different spirit energies and energy guides. And when I was little, I had these really profound experiences that I can tell you a little bit more in detail later. But I was visited quite often by these guides, and I would. Kind of a part of me remembered things from my past about how to use and work with this energy. So I also feel really, really close to the Native American and indigenous cultures because some of these guides would visit me that came from that path, or a lot of star people would materialize in different ways in orbs and energy and that kind of thing. So I do this all my life. Also, my mom is my mom was an artist, and so I grew up painting before I would eat breakfast. I just walked into a studio and I would make art. And, art was breathing to me. It was a way to kind of see where I was at, in my daily life, and it was just a practice of creating and creation. So I was always really fascinated by manifesting and creating and drawing and painting, and I really did everything. I was exposed to, all these different mediums as a really young child. I was really prolific, went to art school and that kind of thing. And I was always, in all of my real early artwork, I was always doing symbols and messages and fascinated with codes and language and that kind of thing. And doing energy work, I remember doing lots of stuff with my hands where I would see energy coming out of my hands, or I would hold objects and intuit lots of information about where they come from and that kind of thing. And it was just really normal to me. And fortunately, thank God I had a mother who just said, "Oh, that's cool. Just do whatever you want to do." So those experiences and those gifts were never shut down or judged in a certain way. But I was always also really really quiet. I didn't talk for many years because my mom and her sister were they would telepath all the time. So I grew up telepathing with two women, adults, and when I went to school, I remember trying to telepath with everybody else, and it was kind of strange. They didn't really pick up on it. But so I had to re-educate myself, and I remember as a child, even when I was 3 and 4, thinking, okay, what do humans do? How do you function in this body? How are you supposed to talk to people? And I remember kind of being always outside of my body looking in, and totally in tune with the spirit world. I would see spirits and energy and light and colors, and I found out later I had this thing called synesthesia, which is, I guess, a diagnosed symptom or something that people experience, which is basically, all your facilities, all of your kind of sensory perceptions cross. So I would hear music and I would see colors and I would see things and taste shapes in my body. I mean, it was really, really quite fascinating, but also a little bit weird. Not too many people to talk to about that. But long story short, I then later I went to New York City because I was really attracted to being there in that culture, and my sisters were there for many years. I worked in the art world and galleries that represented Andy Warhol and Rauschenberg and all these major artists, and then all the, kind of a slew of lots of corporate work. And I stopped painting because I couldn't find a vehicle for that. The spirit wasn't flowing through me at the time. And then I started doing website work. So I worked in the internet and corporate world. So I was like the corporate person in that world. And last 7 years I've been working at a Swiss bank, which is quite ironic because I'm an artist. And, obviously I had to learn real quick how to present information. And basically, when I was there, I worked, because of the web stuff I was doing, I became an account manager at all these businesses, actually, and interfacing with really, really high-end individuals and managing directors and people from all over the world. And didn't understand why I was there, and all of a sudden I realized that my mission was to kind of work with this energy in a more etheric way. And so about, 6 or 7 years ago, I sort of had this spontaneous awakening that just made me remember about everything. And I remember seeing a picture of the Hour of Life and going to the East-West bookstore in New York City and going, what is this? I need to know what this is. The symbol. And the symbol was a trigger for me because I've always worked with symbols and language and script. And this woman said, I have something I think you'll really appreciate. So she took me over to this book that was written, The Flower of Life, with Drew Kiesidek's writing. And later I did some workshops with him in Sedona with my daughter, who was 13 at the time, who's an incredibly high vibrational young woman who's now 17, going out in the world to do this energy work in her music stuff. But we were there, and I started remembering, and then I went to crystal skull ceremonies and all these things, and this awakening just kind of evolved. And all of a sudden, I started getting these triggers, and I was writing and drawing these things again. It was starting to flow through me. And then I found these symbols online that I traced back to this Lakota chief named Chief Golden Eagle. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's pretty well known in the online, offline world. And I said to my daughter, I have to meet this guy. I know this guy from my past, and we're going to work together, and this is going to be great. So we went to a conference. He actually does these annual or biannual, a couple times a year, these Star Knowledge conferences. And we flew out to Palm Springs from New York, and I walked in the door, and everybody was there, and I said to my daughter, oh my God, this is our family. This is our soul family, our star family. And connected with him and his family and all this, and just started on the path of understanding these symbols. So these 1111 symbols that he's channeled with Grandma Silver Star, who's also going to be at the conference, and P. Jackson, who is also at the conference, was there. So do little plugs for these people because they're awesome. I just said to my daughter, this is such an incredible phenomenon because here are these amazing indigenous elders who are live and, sharing this information and opening up the gateways to expression of all of these starways, and all these Native American tribes, these indigenous tribes have relationships with the star people, and Tolec is dealing with Andromeda people. So my people, I learned fairly recently in the last 2 or 3 years. Our Arcturian is one of the many groups that I work with. So I'm some of these very intuitive people have told me a couple things about myself, and one of the things they say is that I am Arcturian. I'm Arcturian in a physical body, and also that I work with many different tribes. So these Sasquatch energies have been coming to me in the last half a year. So these beings kind of show up and they give me information, and all this stuff started happening a couple of years ago. So long story short, I was in New York City, and I left everything to move to the Midwest to work with Chico and Light Eagle. So I'm very close with them. We're doing ceremonies all the time. And I also help with these conferences. I speak at his conferences, and because I've done all this tech and media, like many people in this world, we come from that world, but we're really not of it. So, it's been a fascinating journey for me because I understand this 3D corporate world, but I'm so separated from it. I can go in the forest and all these Sasquatch beings come to me and we talk and everything. So what happened is about 2 years ago, I saw one of these grandmothers on stage, and she started to talk this grandmother language or this light language, and I immediately got keyed in. It was like a trigger for me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I do that. I understand you, and and she said, yes, in time you'll kind of it'll all open up. So. All of a sudden, I met her about a half a year later, and I said, I want to talk to you, and I started talking, and this language came through me, and I realized that it was more natural than English to me. And I started talking, and now I can't stop, which is really funny because I was telepathing with my mom for so long. I really didn't even talk words until I was about 20. I was very uncomfortable, using language and stuff. And now it almost feels like a walk-in or something. And now, I just have a lot of information to share. So what's happening with me is really unbelievably phenomenal. And so one of the things is people have told me that I'm Arcturian, that these Arcturian guides have come to me when I was really little, and this veil for me is lifting really fast. I'm seeing everything about my life, everything about all my past lives. And basically one of the things they told me is I'm a creative inspirationalist, so I, on different energetic levels right now, I'm going planet to planet and star system and working with all these galactic councils and star councils, and kind of like creating blueprints of new ways of being or something is what I'm told. And then all these star beings are appearing to me, and so I'm speaking star languages and light languages on call, completely conscious. They're just flowing through me, and they come to me and they ask me to talk, and I talk. And probably now what's happening is I'm speaking anywhere between 30 to 40 different star languages, and I'm tracking them, and all these symbols are coming to me. So I've been given code books to decode and all this information kind of understand. So that, basically they're telling me I need to be a conduit or an ambassador to kind of bridge this gap between humans and these star people. But they said,
Jenny,
yeah.
Can I interrupt you right here, because we're going to go into a flow of dialogue here. So thank you that's incredible information. And Dr. Lessin has a quick question for you.
Oh, well, it's just, I'm a student of Zara Sitchin's, and he said that basically when he was adapting the Nibiran genome to Earth, he used the genes from the ancestor of Sasquatch, Homo erectus, because Homo erectus was able to telepathically communicate, showed greater compassion than the Anunnaki who had come from Nibiru. And he and Toph, his son, and his sister Nima, had said when the age of Aquarius came, they hoped that our species, because it had the Sasquatch genes, would be then open when the galactic core was in its alignment for us to move to the next level. And so I'm really fascinated by your ambassadoring Sasquatch for us, because they were here before us and they've got a lot to teach us. So thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. So I want to pass the talking stick back to Tolec, and then we'll go around. We'll just go around and round until we run out of time. So Tolec, are you still there?
Yes,
Hello,
I am.
Tolec.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. So since
Hi.
you know all these presenters and their specialties, what would you like to talk about for the remaining of the show? We'll go round robin, people sharing. But you put the first topic on the table.
Well, I think that maybe the best course of action is just to allow a continuance of some of the topics that Jenny just finished addressing. I'll say with amazement that although I intuitively asked each of the speakers to be part of this amazing 3-day special event, I was not always cognizant at a conscious level at how similar they were and how similar their gifts are, in fact. I listened to all those things that Jenny just said and had not heard or learned all of them before, and yet was amazed to learn how similar, in fact, her work is with Alexander's, who is working interdimensionally with a number of star groups. And in this case, it's Alexander's work as, if you will, a star ambassador to deal with interdimensional time portals. Interdimensional portals. That's her role. She deals with a number of different groups. And it seems like all of the people that I'm fortunate enough, and we're fortunate enough to have for this conference, bring a synergy and complementary gifts. So I don't see a lot of overlap, but it's sort of like when you bring together a whole puzzle, you have to have pieces that fit together. And I think from a heart space and from a spiritual and, if you will, star space, we're bringing together a great combination of people who have complementary gifts. It's something that came to mind that I thought would be worth sharing. I'm certainly willing to allow this conversation to flow naturally and have any of us just sort of bring up topics that we feel are important. So I don't have anything immediately that comes to mind, but we can just let it go.
Because I'm still hung up on this, I would start with Jenny and say, what is the main wisdom that your Sasquatch guides are giving you? And I'd say to each presenter, what's the Reader's Digest version of the great advice you have that you bring to humanity?
I'm happy to share a little bit about this. I mean, the thing is, there's so much information that's coming. It's hard to kind of filter out. There's just so much to share. So all these guys kind of talk about different things. So I've got these Arcturian guides, these Sasquatch guides in there, and the elementals and the tree nation, star nations there, and even Hathor. They're all saying the same message. That with the Sasquatch specifically, what they're showing me is really who they are. So they say that they're ancient beings that have been here before humans, but we share a very similar DNA. We're very close to them, but they can shapeshift, and they show me lots of things about them. But then they also talk about these messages that basically come to me at like 333-444-555 in the morning. They visit me in dream time and physical, and then they talk for about an hour or two, and I'm just writing things down on my phone, and then I have to decompress and package it. It's like these huge downloads. But the messages from the Sasquatch are basically, about the Earth. They tell me that they're working with the Earth and recalibrating the Earth and the energy and the ley lines. They tell me, they're all talking to each other. It's like they're not disrelated. The elementals have a job to do. The star people have a job to do. And so the Sasquatch, for example, are telling me that they're recalibrating the earth. They say that, this blue plasma energy or this energetic stuff is coming out of the ground and really triggering people's consciousness. So they're working that way with the earth. They tell me that they go up and down, dimensions in consciousness and that kind of thing, so they can move around. That's why they look really big and fuzzy, but they're and potential. The way that they've been depicted is incorrect as being like these wild, dangerous animals. They're actually the most beautiful souls I've ever met. And I just came back from speaking at a Sasquatch conference in Washington State. And all these people had exactly the same experience. So with the Sasquatch, they're sending out ambassadors to work with people, to be the spokespeople for them as they're starting to materialize. So the Arcturians are doing the exact same thing. They're coming to me, teaching me languages, teaching me how to, do this. And the bottom line with all this is that we are going through a transitional shift in our consciousness. So
Janet and everybody, this is our break music, and we're going to be on break for about 5 minutes. We're not going to drop the call because of the difficulty we had, but we do ask everybody to please mute because the verses are live. So mute and then pay attention for the music when we come back on. We'll see you in about 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Hear you.
Hear you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com with your host, Janet Lessin, and my co-hosts, Dr. Sasha Lessin, and Tolec-Jenny-Marks and Cheyenne Stone. And before we get back to the show, I'd like to remind everybody to please make a donation. Go over to freedomslips.com and donate what you can. We do need the funds this month, and there's a special going on. There's a special effort about the Matt, would you like to tell us? That's in front of me.
We don't have any specials going right at the moment.
Oh, okay.
We do need to come up with about $700 more in the next week or so to keep things running right, from my understanding.
Keep things running. So please keep us on. Go over and make a donation. Dr. Lessin wants to say something.
Okay, but what we left off with, and what I'd like to continue with, we have 3 ambassadors of way higher intelligence that have some messages for us, and I'm asking them to give us the essence of those messages that may be helpful to humanity at this time.
So, Jen, we're going to come back to you, but I want to give some airtime back to Cheyenne. So, and then we're going to pick up what you were talking about with the Sasquatch and their beings. But Cheyenne, I'm passing the talking stick to you.
I'm on the spot. Well, I want to say that one of the ambassador type messages I get over and over again from my teacher, and those are teachers you can't hug as well as I can. They come in both flavors. Is to remember resonance, and that our hearts learn from the other hearts around us, as well as our hearts are teaching those around us. And what we choose to carry in our hearts is broadcasting. It's not just personal. It impacts everyone in range of you. And I just encourage everyone listening to take a moment each day, ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to wake up in tomorrow? And you can make a change so simple. You can reach your arm out, and the tip of your longest finger is how much of the world you can change. First, you start there. And hand something to someone within that arm's reach. Give a cookie, give a warm thought, or words of encouragement. And if everyone on the planet, everyone listening today, does that, you're going to wake up in a different world tomorrow, because what we carry in our hearts and what we share with others is huge. It's enormous. So the personal journey starts first, as above, so below. You do your inner work, and what resonates in your heart is going to be like the stone in the pond, to speak of the grandfather's message in my tribe. The 20 count is when you throw the stone in the pond and you watch the 20 ripples, and then they come back on themselves, and then they start to multiply. It's exponential. So watch out what stone you're throwing in the pond every day. And that's what's going to come back around through the hearts of those around you. And some of these grand and amazing communications and journeys and experiences that people like Tolec and Jen have are part of that big web, that big woven quilt. But for each and every person who listens tonight, if you look inside your own heart, look inside the hearts of those around you, find that it's just like guitar strings resonating. You know, if you strum the D chord on one guitar and there's another guitar laying on the table, it's going to start to vibrate. Well, think about your heart that way, because you're going to be sending energy, whether you're consciously choosing what you send or not. It's going to come through you. The question is, are you making the choice consciously of what energy you're sending? Because you never stop sending it as long as you're breathing and here in this physical realm. You're creating energy constantly, and it's coming outward from you in all directions. So that's what I have to share. Thank you for that opportunity. Thank you.
All right, so we're just going to go free flow here. I just wanted to say to everybody there, especially Jenny, that I have been getting a lot of downloads lately, and they're accelerated, and the information is just coming so fast, and they try to get it down as much as possible, and then they worry about it. What if I don't get it 100% correct? And the communication is, well, it'll just come again. We'll keep flowing it through you until you can get it back out in some other direction to someone else to witness it, and up into the Akashic records and into the morphogenic field. So, free flow. Who's got a burning share? Who wants to go next? Popcorn.
I could share a little bit more. Cheyenne, that was really beautiful what you mentioned, especially about these strings or vibrations. Or one of the things these guides show me, you know, some of them are visual. I mean, everyone receives information in different ways that does this kind of work, and for me it's a couple different ways. But you know, this idea that everything is connected. I'm being shown lots of things by these guides, like how things function, like really deep quantum mechanics, and really what's going on in the world. So this conference is really about the shift of energies that's happening, and really understanding that at a conscious level, but also a spiritual level and energetic level. And all these guys have the same message in different ways that are working with me right now about this consciousness change that's happening, the ascension shift and that kind of thing. Probably most of the people on this call have been aware of this ascension symptoms. Your body shuts down, you go through, lethargic or cathartic changes, things don't make sense, your job or work or energy changes. This is part of this process of shifting to these higher dimensions. So one of the things my guides tell me is that we've already shifted into the fifth dimension and much higher, actually. But collectively as a consciousness, we're still repeating 3D. That's why we're experiencing what we feel as 3D, because most of the human consciousness hasn't evolved out of that. They just don't know any difference. They're really stuck in this idea of this matrix, that we all talk about and understand in different ways. But there's been what they show me is like an architected program that we've had to live through to break out of. Basically, it's about this journey. So everything that you've learned, everything that you've been taught by your parents or teachers or everything is really programming to get you to think in a certain way. If you go in any store, the music that plays, to the nth degree of every single thing that you touch with all of your senses has been organized to basically separate your soul from your body is what they're showing me. And what we are trying to do right now is reintegrate that. So this idea that everybody, that every human body is seeded from all these star systems is one thing. But, this idea of this energy shift happening and this consciousness opening, it's happening because it's the time. Now, like these ancient constructs and these contracts are ended. These, what they want to call dark shadows or these dark energies are leaving our planet. They're leaving now because their time is done. And we're all conscious here. Everybody on Earth is walking on the Earth right now, whether they know it or not, has a plan, a purpose, a mission, and has agreed to help Mother Earth ascend. So we're doing it for the first time in the history of the universe as a collective consciousness in our physical bodies. And all these billions of star people are right over us, sitting in ships, watching us with fascination. They want to be here because this has never happened in the history of any galactic world ever. And we're like right in the thick of it right now. It's very exciting. So, they show me all these systems that are breaking down, the politics, religion, food, everything. It has to happen. Entropy has to happen because this huge, beautiful world is coming in, but we are architecting it. We're creating new blueprints for what that looks like. So that's really what this is about. So, when these messages I get are really about three things: about light language. We're all talking this energy language in different ways, and these ancient tools and that kind of thing. And then also just this idea of manifestation. What Cheyenne was saying about thoughts and energy, whatever you think and feel, everything is light and sound and vibration. Every thought that you have manifests. And very quickly because and losing that. So we're just evolving in a place that cause and effect is happening very quickly. You're going to think of some love that's going to manifest, or you're going to think fearful and it will manifest too. So it's really important to be an owner of your thoughts and realize that power. But it's a beautiful time we're living in. It's really, really like the best time ever.
One of the things that you said that really struck home to me is that you can transcend your bodily consciousness, but you don't get rid of it. You just incorporate it into and reintegrate it and synergize with it. It becomes an aspect of you rather than something that's separate from another dichotomy.
Absolutely. Yeah. What they're showing me is, this comes in pictures and thoughts and feelings, and they're saying that we've been seeded from all these different star systems. So we're really, really special in that way, but we've been so talked out of that from these negative, beings, human and galactic, because they just didn't want us to know that. But we're actually like these hidden jewels inside of our body. So, when they talk about activation of DNA and consciousness, it's happening for about 20 different reasons. We're moving in a photon belt physically. If you look at science, we're being stimulated by basically stardust. Cosmos and meteors and stuff is falling on us and awakening our consciousness. Then you've got the solar flares that are happening that are triggering stuff, and then inside our body, and then inside the Earth. The Mother Earth is like opening up and releasing all this stuff that's stimulating our pineal gland. I mean, we're just going through this huge cathartic change, but we don't see it in 3D yet, but we're like walking into that now. So it's just incredible what's going on.
I have a question about Sasquatch. What do they tell you about the potential Earth changes and the destruction of our ecosystems? Because they seem to be connected in ways that regular humans are not, and I don't think that there are many other species. There's eagles, and it's more than just the human population. I don't think these people are going to let this planet perish like it seems like we're heading. What do the Sasquatch people say about it?
They tell me that that they've been here for a long time working with the Earth, and there are some humans, especially the indigenous cultures, that they actually work directly with. on these ceremonies and these energies to just keep the earth vitalized. You know, there are the Kobe Mamos in Colombia and all these different tribes and groups all over the world that they are actually physically and emotionally and spiritually working with. But they say that these star waves, they're star people too. They're not earth, animals or beings. They go on and off planet all the time. That's what's so ironic about them. Nobody knows this. It's really fascinating. They're really beautiful orbs of light, these amazing beings. And they say that star people have every technology available to basically shift anything within a day or two of our time. So they can come in and they can clean up the earth, they can clean up the water, they can clean up that kind of thing. And they're working with the earth that way. One of the things that they told me, I had a vision, these come in visions, and they showed me that the earth is a being. Gaia is a very high-level being consciousness, and she has chosen to lower herself in a dimensional vibration to help humans grow and understand their missions and their roles. So she's come down in her frequency for us who vibrate at the same level to basically choose our consciousness to move up in a dimensional vibration. So she's having all the stuff happen to her. She's very aware of this, and now she's kind of done and said, I'm breaking out of this and I'm coming back online, and Mama's home and we're gonna clean house, and the Sasquatch are here to kind of help that energy. But they say don't worry about anything. People that are very concerned about the ozone and concerned about the earth and everything, they've told me consistently, all these different groups, is they have the technology to clean it, but we are in a free will system. So Earth is free will, which means it has to come from us. They can't come in and intervene, take over and just clean it up, which they could. It has to come from us. We damaged this Earth in our past lifetimes. We have to clean it up. That's what they're showing me.
What's difficult for me is, in a way, they say, like Custer died for our sins. That is, we're not, you and I aren't polluting anything, but there are powerful forces that are making pipelines and oil and murder and stuff like that. What do we do about people that are squashing consciousness? How can we incorporate them in this transition to ascension?
What they're showing me, these archetypes in Sasquatch are showing, especially these grandmothers, is this is part of a collective consciousness. And this idea of, there's so much disclosure going on, talking about the bad team and the dark team and the shadows. They have to exist because it's part of our consciousness. So they say three things. There should be no judgment of another being, another consciousness, another will, because they have their role to play. They've chosen a role and they've been assigned a role to do this. And those darker energies are here for us to actualize the light. They're actually very high vibrational beings that took on that role in this lifetime to help consciousness evolve. Things are moving forward. So this idea of, people manipulating others or that kind of thing. Yeah, it's basically a big game. It's shifting. The rules are changing, and it is part of consciousness overall to understand itself. It's kind of hard to put into words, but so when people are suffering, they have a contract before they come into this world to go through that experience to learn something about themselves. When they leave and go out of body, they go back to another place, and then they take on another role and that kind of thing. So even the most horrific things that we see in media or in the world, the people are suffering from, they're showing is part of an experience that they chose. We all choose these, whatever worlds we're in. And the people in Haiti and, the earthquakes and, Fukushima, all these things, these are actually very high-level conscious beings that have taken on this role to basically change the consciousness of these understandings of these systems. So it's really hard to put into words, but it's all happening.
I know what you mean.
Everybody's fine. Yeah.
So it's, in Sanskrit, they say Om Namah Shivaya. Everything's divine. Everything's in the mind of the creator of all.
Absolutely. We're all arms and legs of the creator. Basically, the creator said, go out and find out everything you can about everything and come back to me. And that includes everything. So these dark systems in Atlantis and, the crap that's going on now, it's pretty heavy, but it doesn't, when you don't play into it and realize it also has a role, when you respect it, there's no power there anymore. That's right. I agree.
All right. May I join in and comment?
Absolutely.
Okay. Boy, there's so much here. Light a pipe, sit down and talk for a second.
I was thinking we needed to definitely pipe.
Yeah. The forces that operate in dark or in the shadows that have their own agenda, much like, as I mentioned, pipes sit around a fire, much like a fire. No energy source can continue to thrive unless it has fuel. And these dark forces operate off of the erratic emotional energy of humans who decide, as a metaphor, to give that dark fire fuel. And that can be in the form of fear, anxiety, helplessness, confusion. There are a lot of distractions that are created by what could be termed, as President Eisenhower and then after him, President Kennedy, the military, and now also media, industrial complex. And the media is really good at feeding, for lack of better words, because sometimes you don't always know the right words, the media is really good at feeding fear-based, negative programming. And that negative programming keeps the powers in their positions of control as long as they have fuel. Now, I'm speaking with some metaphors here, but they're actually pretty accurate. No entity can exist and thrive unless it has fuel. And if we as conscious human beings decided, individually and collectively, just think of the power of 8 billion souls on this planet. If we all said individually and collectively, I am no longer, exactly. I'm no longer going to buy into the negative programming that is being shown as in television programming, i.e. all of the cop shows, the terrorism, the drugs, news programming. We say no. 8 billion of us say no more to negative programming, no more to being controlled. We are sovereign, unique souls, born of the Creator. If that happened at once, our path in this process of transformational evolution would happen a lot quicker. Really would. But as you've all identified, each soul on this planet has a right to evolve at his or her own pace. Each person has his or her own path. And for those people that are not familiar with terms, the terminology that we're using, not familiar with the concepts we're discussing, it's just going to take them longer to become unencumbered of fear-based programming. It's going to take them longer to be more enlightened. And feel free, any of you, if you'd like to jump in and comment on what it's
I just had all this stuff bubbling up, and you put so much of it to words. I want to give it a personal angle that involves fire. 3 years ago, I had to shove people paper pets in my car and flee as my town went up in flames. And flame retardant was coming down out of jets on top of me as we ran, and 19 men died. And when the quote unquote saviors, the officials came in, they simply put a barrier up on the road that was not in flames, that would have been safe, a straight, smooth road into the valley.
Wow.
And they forced everyone with no tour guide, no assistance, no anything. If you wanted out, you had to go down a switchback mountain dangerous road with fire literally jumping over the hood of the car. And I can remember turning to my daughter and going, OMG, I mean, there was so much smoke I couldn't even see my windshoulders. And I knew I was on a very dangerous road, which of course I had memorized like the back of my hand because I had driven it so many times. But I will never forget that moment, because the whole front of my frontal cortex turned into a whiteboard, and 3 statements appeared in that moment. And I got flames and smoke and houses and cars and propane tanks are exploding as I'm driving. And as these words came across the forehead, I am infinite.
Right.
I am with my Creator in all time, space. Not only that, I am love. And I want to tell you what, this scene that was so materialistically real faded away. It didn't mean anything.
Thank you.
The television is even more fake. It doesn't mean anything because we've all forgotten who we are.
Right.
Each of us have got to remember who we are. We're incredible, powerful, infinite beings. We cannot be killed. We cannot be destroyed. And we cannot be stopped. And we came here to share one thing, to open ourselves like a wide open hollow bone and to allow the love to come through. Nothing else means anything. And I'm not trying to demean the suffering of others. Trust me, I have stood toe-to-toe with the devil. I have fought physically, emotionally, and spiritually with that other. But when you have died as many times as I have died and been shoved back in your body, what are they going to do to me? What are they going to do to me? I have learned to stand in my power. Therefore, I can say thank you to that dark thing over there. Because of that, and because of that battle, I now will not relinquish that which is my domain, my birthright. And I encourage everyone to find a way to fit into that. Right. Because otherwise, you're just suffering the throws and arrows of giving away your power to somebody else. It's like a messiah complex in this country. I'm going to give my power to the doctor or the teacher at the school or, the educator in my university to tell me how to think and how to walk and where to walk and when to walk. And no, I stand in my power. And I can be grateful for the battles I have fought. I'll shut up.
That was wonderful, and each of us discover the light and the gifts that we are and that we bring to the people of this world, and know to KNOW that Cheyenne, as you said, we are truly infinite beings of light, and the word infinite is not only legitimate, it is literal. We are, if we take away this organic blood, bones, muscle, sinew, tissue, avatar body, we are infinite beings of light and energy that, to say thousands of years of lifetime would be inadequate. We have a lifetime that spans millennia, and we just choose to have different experiences to learn as much as we can and grow as much as we can. But the sooner that we, the parenthetic way, the ubiquitous, we throw off the shackles of allowing others to dictate to us how to live our lives, the sooner we will become truly sovereign people, each one of us. And some of us have achieved that state. We live and walk it every single day. There are many on the planet who have not yet come to that realization. And you know what? They have a right to be exactly where they are. They do. And they're going to grow at whatever pace they are comfortable growing. And that's just the nature of evolution.
Each of us is in some box, and that box is pretty much of our own creating, of agreeing to be allowed to live with our consciousness reduced to about the size of a pin of a needle, when in truth our consciousness is as big as the galaxy that you could dream of, and farther. It's not just infinite in time, it's infinite in space. But we agree to allow ourselves to be shrunk into a pinhead and to live in a world built on the head of a needle. And that's what I see in the times that I've been shown in amazing teachings, where I've been taken off the planet and then brought back into my body.
Kicking and screaming?
Kicking and screaming, yes, it's all the way, every time. But no, literally, it's a mutual agreement we make with each other. I'll live inside of that Truman Show, and that Truman Show is the size of the head of a darning needle. But there's a cosmos we could be living in and experiencing and expanding in. I wanted to contribute to that also, this idea of what you were saying, Cheyenne. It's so beautiful. I really, really appreciate you. So thank you for all that you're sharing. And this idea of shifting gears and not looking to people outside for guidance or information. That the age of the guru is over. Even finding, learning how we learn information. It's book learning, but it's not about experience. And these Arcturians tell me it's really, really about physical, emotional, spiritual experience. That's the only way that you know something. So, when you study somebody who studied somebody who studied somebody, there's no essence of nature or natural form or information that really is alive in that. You look at these Mayan scholars, but most of them have never touched the earth in that way. They've never worked with the symbols. They've never worked with the information. And they've studied. People study people, and then they write about what they've studied. And what they're showing me is everybody has. The only way that you know any truth is from your own personal experience. That's why we're here. The earth is like a living library and a planet of experience. We come here to learn emotions. We come here to learn, human interaction. We come here to learn about manifestation and creation. I mean, it's really like a training ground. And like both of you said, all of you said that we're these high vibrational beings that have been squished down these little body packages. And that's happened so that we can, function in this world. But these Arcturians are telling us that these portals of energy are opening, which they're wide open right now. So it's really a choice if you want to do this stuff. They're showing me to teach other people, and other people this information come through about how to move up and down these energy systems between this higher consciousness. So how to be in 5D and manifest what you want and wish and will in your life, and still be able to come down. And I've got a teenager, we're paying bills, working, trying to keep the energy flowing. And one of the things that I wanted to share with this audience too is show me that they teach me that the star people don't understand 3D. So they're here to help us and guide us. We have many ancestors and many guides that we walk with. In a Lakota tradition, there's an understanding. There's seven guides. There's up and down in the earth, and there's a grandmother behind you, grandfather in front of you, and a holy mother, holy, father on both sides of you. And there's this mystery in the world, in the earth. Those are all of your guides. Each one of us walks with them, but it's also us inside. We're the seventh guide. And this idea that we carry all this information inside of us, it's just remembering. All these indigenous elders talk about remembering who we are, remembering where we came from, remembering what our powers are. It's just this little web of this matrix that's been put around our planet to lock us into thinking, oh, we got to go shopping, and then maybe one day, we'll have a house, or if you buy this dress, it's all programming. Everything is this matrix programming. You listen to music, and it's keyed with information and numbers and sound tones. It's basically sound that is manipulating us. You look at these advertisements on television. I don't even look at television anymore. I haven't watched TV for about 3 years, I think. And, in New York, I was bombarded by all this stuff, and you realize it's all just distracting you from what's real. You go outside and you put your feet on the ground. That's real. That's all that matters. You're around natural forms, natural food. You drink water. You have great conversations and loving relationships. That is all that matters. Everything else is fabricated. So they show me these star beings in the star realms or ascended master realms or anything outside of here. They don't deal with money. So if you say, oh, I need to pay my bills, they don't understand how to help you because it's not in their vocabulary. But if you say, I need abundance to be able to do my walk or to help people or to, change this earth and help Mother Earth, find a way, please show me a way or help me find a way to do this, that energy comes in. So what I was talking about is not giving your power away. We are taught from day one. Somebody else owns us. Oh, a teacher, a doctor, they know better than us. They don't know better than us. Our body system is wired to know everything we need. It's like we're Akashic records. We're walking around with that. When we get in the spirit mind, what they tell me is when you move into your heart, you get out of your ego, you get out of your mind. If you have a conflict with somebody, real 3D, somebody comes and yells at you, thank you very much, that's all you got to say. Don't get engaged in the emotions or the ego or the conversation. It's like that thing, you architected to bring those people to you to have a shift in your consciousness. If you want to have an issue with it or blame them or talk about it or feel crappy about it, that's up to you. That's the free will. All of this stuff is clearing the way for these, for this whole other energy to come in. So that's some of the things that they're showing me. It's really an amazing time that we're living in. We have the ability to do anything that we want, but it's like we didn't get the memo. But we're getting the memo now. Some of us are getting the memo. That's why these conferences are so great.
Yes. Yeah, and conferences like this one and others give the people who attend an opportunity to do the same kind of thing that we're all doing right now, which is opening up, reaching in, expressing what we know to be true as we learn, as we grow. But these conferences are a wonderful opportunity to sit down with people into the wee hours of the morning typically and share what we've learned. And it's an amazing gift that happens when we all sit down and have conversations like this.
Did you want to say something?
I'm really, in psychology, we resonate a lot of these same principles that you've been talking about. The things that bug you in other people usually they bug you because they're resonating parts of you that you haven't reconciled. So if somebody's of anger and you can't stand it and it really bugs you that they're so angry, all you have to do is look inside and say, is there an angry part of me and what does that part really need? And it's usually appropriate assertiveness or something like that. That case, it's always about you. And you can, and if this is a holographic universe, and we have fractals of all that there is within us, and it's everything in the universe within us, and we're within every atom of the and subatomic particle of the universe, and it's a matter of our focus. And I also find it useful to embrace both infinity and finitude both. It doesn't have to be either or, but to be able to have the whole chain of consciousness within your, you can access the entire chain of consciousness. You don't have to be stuck in any particular part of it. It's all part of you and you're part of all of it. That's how I look at it.
Yes.
Totally. I have a question. Is this conference going to be simulcast, telecast, recorded, or anything?
No, it will not be. No, and And I've made a conscious decision to allow this conference to be purely an experience that the people who choose to attend and choose to listen to the different speakers and participate in the interaction of the speaker groups, the interaction between themselves and the other attendees, that is a unique benefit of deciding to physically attend, to be there in person, to be there in person, to be there in consciousness, to be there in spirit, to be there in heart and in intellect. And I've also chosen to do this because I don't want to dilute the purity of the totality of that experience and try to replicate it over the internet. Because it's just, and I've used this example before, but I'll keep it brief. Our collective generation, those of us in this age group, we could say, I want to go see Sting and listen to him in concert, or I want to go to see the Rolling Stones or somebody else. You can never, ever replicate that experience of being there and listening to Sting and watching him and hearing him and his inflections as he hits different notes. It's okay and it's fun to hear it on the radio, but you'll never replicate that experience from being there in person. And so I don't want to replicate that experience.
There's something about sharing breath. When you're in the same arena, you are breathing the same air. When you're in the same arena, you're sharing the energy. And that's why I tell people, I can watch that conference or that presenter later on YouTube. I said, but there's something magical about being there in that energy, and that is a co-creative force. Now, that energy that you're generating goes into the morphogenic field. And so it does have an incredible effect, and then everybody there is touched by what is said and done, and they go out as ambassadors, and they can, like a candle, lighting 10 other candles, start spreading that energy that gets generated from that conference. I wish I could be there, and I will be there in spirit. And I know it sounds like a cliche, but there is a part of my consciousness which is totally capable of tuning in and dropping in and participating, even though I'm not there in person. But those who are in that area, please get on your car, boat, plane, whatever, and do come to the conference. So tell us a little bit. We've got another 15 minutes. We can keep talking in spiritual terms, but just right here, a little commercial. Where is it?
Sure.
When is it?
Okay. 2016 Transformational Shift Conference. It's taking place 3 weekends from now. The weekend of October the 21st through the 23rd in the southern Sonora Desert in Tucson, Arizona. This time of year it'll be in the low to mid 80s, or should be hovering around the mid 80s, dry, very comfortable. It's going to take place at the Doubletree by Hilton. Reed Park, is its designation, and it's located on Alverdon Way, just south of Broadway Boulevard, running east-west. And as Jenny, you talked about, and Cheyenne, you talked about, we are going to have some. I'm blessed. I really feel blessed that we're going to have some truly gifted, truly insightful Native American speakers, including Grandmother Silver Star, Pete Jackson, Kathy A. Wilcutts from the Cheyenne River Reservation. She is just a really talented lady. Sierra Neblina, she is Cherokee. She will be there. Stuart Swerdlow, you, Cheyenne, Michael Brown, Jenny, you, Alexandra Metter, Dan Brock, a few other people. Just a truly special experience. I feel blessed to have received the opportunity to sort of birth it, but it's quite honestly, it takes a lot of my energy and intellect and knowledge, but I feel it's more like I'm a passenger in a ride. It's taken on a life of its own. And there have been, like any river has its own path, there have been changes that have needed to happen for this conference to be better than the original concept. And as an example, because of something serious that's happened in Mickey Free's life, he'll no longer be able to play on Friday night. Well, as a result, Pete Jackson, probably one of the most respected elders from the Pima, Gila River Indian community, he was speaking on Friday night. When I think of that, I get chills because of just the depth of star knowledge that he has. When we look at Saturday night, we're going to have an amazing concert with a world-class group of musicians they'll be led by Pete Swan. Neiman Lyles on sax is one of the top saxophone players in the country. Crystal Stark was the finalist for American Idol. And when you close your eyes, you'll think you heard Whitney Houston. So, all in all, just a great weekend. It's going to be enlightening, it's going to be informative, but have some fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I should not forget, Mark Kimmel will be the keynote speaker, and we'll get to hear from him on Saturday. And providing that Simon Parks is okay, we'll hear from him live from the UK. He had some kidney stones. He was down and out for a while, but I think he's coming back. So that's my short promotional piece.
Thank you so much. I had gallstones, so I feel for him. That hurts.
Yeah.
All right, we're just finished. We are going to talk the clock until the bell goes off, or until the music goes off. So, free flow. Anybody have something they want to say? Yeah, grab the imaginary talking stick and take it away.
I have a question for Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, what happens? Yeah, Jenny, can you tell me about what has happened from time to time whenever you've spoken some light language in front of some people that you are in fact triggering, and they recognize the language? There's this moment where they're changing right in front of you. Can you share some of those?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just read my mind. We must be telepathing right now. Thank you. So,
sure.
Yeah, this is all about light, sound, and vibration, and these languages that come through me that I found many people speak actually triggers a consciousness in people, a DNA, a recognition. So it's funny you mentioned this because I was going to request if I could just share a little bit of this light language because it's actual energy transference that when I was at the Sasquatch conference, I spoke for about an hour and a half, and half the time I spoke light language and people's jaws were on the floor. I was watching them as I was talking. These beings come through me and they talk, and afterwards people just said, "Oh my God, I've heard this. I've never heard this before, but I recognize it." So there's a huge shift of consciousness that comes through this energy. So, just a little plug here. If you want to go to jennymarks.com, you can find out more about it and contact me. I do these sessions with people and these energy drawings, but it's really about this exchange of information. So if you don't mind, I'd love to just speak a little bit and just see what comes through.
Yes, give us a sample. Sure.
Ahead. Okay, so some of these are star languages and some of these are light energy languages, but whatever comes through, I've been told, is the appropriate thing for whoever's listening on this call before, during, and after. So this is just information specifically for you. It's like your higher selves are working, through me to share this information. So here's the message that comes through. Unkakawa kaitwa shinemaloa kinilwa sake. Niki paloa kainilwa shikitilwa singinilwa kai. Usa maloa kinilwa shikitilwa sane. Umba koala kainilwa shengilwa kitwa sai kitwa sankake. Ni pa koala kuwasha stebalo kinilwa sankire. Nu maloa mona kuikwa. Unshiki wala kainilwa shama kuitwa sakinilwa. Mwikikola kaine chorsa sama mamalo kitidwasa. Untedwala kite ni semalo kaintuasha antidwala kitidwa mukakewasasa. So that's one of the probably 50 languages of star language we speak. But the image that I got when it was coming through is I was identifying myself to the people that are listening, or the spirit was, the soul, who they are. It's like the rank and file and where they're going, but they were sharing information to trigger everyone and just basically say that you need to awaken to yourself. It was almost like each one of us comes in with coded in a certain way, and we're all pieces of this puzzle, and we all do it together. We do not do this alone. And so, the people that are listening now and the people that are coming to the conference, we're all part of this. And what I've been told is these light languages, these energies that come through, awaken people's consciousness about themselves. So however you receive this, it's working, even if you don't understand or feel the language. Or there's no direct translation with this. It's light energy that comes through. So it's sound and vibration and all that. So I really appreciate you allowed me to share this. So thank you.
Wow.
I've heard the light language before. I was up in Canada at the Experiencers Conference in June, and there were two people that spoke the light language, and it's very similar. I don't understand, what's being said, can't translate it, but it has similar inflections. So that was shocking. I just went, wow, that wasn't Hilda Dart, it was the other fellow, I can't remember his name right now. I went, wow, that sounds just like how they were talking. Now, that language, which beings speak it? Primarily?
They all do.
They all do.
I'm starting to kind of code break which star people are talking to me, but that was a kind of the message I got was a combination between a little Sasquatch language. Actually, they talk like that. I've physically heard them talking like that in the forest when I did like a 4-day fasting out on the land. That's also a little Arcturian, and they're showing me it's a kind of an ancient Pacific kind of language, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
There's a being that comes in from like the 66th dimension that works through me. Sometimes I've been told, and the thing is, what's fascinating. Anybody who's listening on this call, if you go online and you Google light language, most of the people that work with this language or speak it or talk it, they draw it, they dance it, energetic artists are really opening up to this. It comes in lots of different forms, but a lot of people have had ET contacts or, abductee experiences or something, and they've been triggered. So they just spontaneously talk this, but it's fascinating to me. Hundreds of thousands of people all over the world are doing this. And there's a woman named Mary Rodwell, if you're interested in finding out about this. She's interviewed people in past life regression, and it's phenomenal because the messages are all the same. Love, light, happiness, find your balance, work with each other. It's just like amazing. So this just is what is happening to me, and I've been told to share this. But there are many, many people around the world that are spontaneously starting to do this and have done it all their lives, or they just wake up and they have no idea what they're saying. And it's absolutely fascinating. But they tell me that it's just an energy transfer. So language is a symbol, visuals are a symbol. It's kind of a combination of all of that stuff. So it just is a carrier of information, just like water or energy. So it's just, I'm learning too. It's really phenomenal how this is happening.
Yeah, it's very familiar to me. I'm a holographic holotropic breath worker, and people who are doing deep breathing to powerful evocative music or journeying with a psychogenic substance will very, very often speak this language, and it's very common. It's just there underneath when you let go of the way you're supposed to communicate. That's what's there for a lot of us.
And even people that get into a spiritual high, even in traditional, like evangelistic churches, get into a glossary, and they interpret it how they interpret it, but they be speaking a universal language that's beyond their intellect, and they're just grasping onto it, and other people are getting it energetically, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they tell me it was just phenomenal. Everybody does it in their own way, but there is a universal language there. Mm-hmm.
So when you were a child, you were telepathing. And from my experience as an experiencer, most times I'm in contact with extraterrestrials. It is a telepathic. It's like you understand the entire concepts. It's beyond language. When you were telepathing with your mother and her twin sister, were you getting it in words, or was it concepts?
For me, it happens. I feel that I get these messages multidimensionally, so for me it's sort of all of them. I'll see pictures, sometimes I'll hear sounds, sometimes I'll feel energy, I feel touching sensations. I mean, I'm sort of hit with everything. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Some people, like Edgar Cayce, could only get his visions when he slept, and then when he woke up, he didn't remember anything. Other people channel completely live, like Bashar. If you look at all these people that are channeling different energies, it's all different for everybody. For me, it sort of happens every single way possible. So, everybody's different, but the key is the message for everyone is that people have this ability because it's about tuning in with this ultimate consciousness. So everybody does this, and actually it manifests in their art, their work, in their life. How you cook a meal can be light language, how you put things together. It's ultimately about creation and creativity.
So we're about to run out of time. I want everybody to say final words. Cheyenne, final words.
Final word.
Okay.
Yes.
Final word.
Final word. Know that everyone listening has incredible depth, and be open to listening and seeing messages will come through from those that love you in all time space, and just be open to taking that where it takes you, and be filled with love and light, and the rest will take care of itself.
Thank you. Tolec, final words.
I'm going to choose to quote myself from a prayer and experience that I came back from Dakota with, and I'll just quote a few lines. May you walk tall in truth, honor and respect others. May your journey on this world be long and prosperous. May you always touch another soul with kindness.
And that's the final word. Thank you very much for joining us on the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio. Much love and blessings, and aloha.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Who owns you? If you're not in control, then someone else is. Join me, Ivy West, for Voices on the Wind, Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern in Studio A. I discuss government, health, metaphysics, suppressed science, universal mysteries, little-known incredible facts, alternative energies, and even more than you can imagine. Won't you join us on Revolution Radio Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for Voices on the Wind with me, Ivy West.
There are lives in the balance, people under fire, children at the cannons.
Because if your head's in the sand, your tail is a target.